Look how absolutely solid this plug is. Look at that. It's just resisting that Rosen inserter. We're trying to bend this down, but it just doesn't want to come out of this ear canal particularly well. And it is hanging on for dear life in here. And that's just one of the removals we've got coming up today, guys. Now, what you can see here, this is the first patient here. This is actually, I think this is Taylor's patient, this first one. And what we've got here is actually it's quite a sizable plug. You know, it's filling the canal. Would have really been giving some issues as far as day-to-day hearing is concerned. Taking away a little bit of dry skin there just at the entrance, but look how solid that plug is. Luckily, patient has been using some oil. You could see that seeping around the edge of the plug there. But the lovely thing about this plug is it's mobile, okay? Which can be a blessing and a curse. The reason being, when it's mobile and it's moving really easily and it's coming out the ear canal fantastically well, great, lovely, absolutely easy, lovely removal. But sometimes with a mobile piece of wax like this, you'll pull it forwards, and just by the shape of the canal, because don't forget ear canals are not dead straight, they've got like an elongated S shape to them. And sometimes they'll also change in shape as far as their width and height is concerned. So if you've got a piece of wax that's been in there a while and it's formed to a specific shape and size of the canal, when you move it, it can get stuck because the canal's maybe narrowed or the height is just shortened a little bit. And that's what's happened here. Now, sometimes what we do at this point is we try and get over the top of it with a manual tool, which is what's going on here. And if the plug is quite firmly jammed in there, you can get over the top of that plug really easily. It doesn't move. If it's quite a mobile plug, when you try and put a bit of pressure to get behind it, you'll inadvertently push the plug back to its original position. So there's a real fine line to tread with these. But I think this is Taylor. He's doing really, really well here. Now he's switched it up. So the first tool you saw, that round tool there, that's what they call a rye curette. This second one now, this is a rye hook. So this one's job is to try and just peel away from the sides and try and get down the one side or just beyond the plug, turn the hook. So imagine it's like this. Sometimes what you'll do is go down the side of the plug like that and then turn. So you've got this hook behind a section of it. But there wasn't quite enough gap to accommodate it. So back to the suction, a little bit of a wiggle. You don't always just pull them straight. You tend to sort of, I don't know, we call it in Wales kind of walking it out of something, but basically you're kind of almost rocking it back and forth just to shimmy it, if you like, out of the ear canal. But it's coming away well. It's just got that little bit stuck at this point. So can we pull it the rest of, there we go. You can see that little bit of a shimmy, that little bit of movement there, trying to draw this down the canal. He's trying to hold on to that slightly flatter section of wax, restricted in the tools he can use at the moment, because, like, you know, we do get in the comment section, you know, why can't you just go in and grab this bit, or, you know, use this tool to get behind it? It doesn't always work like that. It all depends on the gap that's around the plug and patient comfort. Sometimes what you see on the screen is you just see what's going on inside the ear. As a practitioner, what you're seeing is the patient as a whole. You know, you're looking at what's going on the screen, but you're also very acutely aware of patients' facial expressions. You know, if they say anything, do they move, do they flinch, do they twitch? You know, all these things you take into account, and that really, really does govern how you remove that wax and what you do as far as that wax removal is concerned. Okay, so, you know, sometimes you might think, wow, that's really frustrating, they could have probably got it out with that tool a bit quicker. There might be something that you're seeing as a practitioner that means you just can't go in there with that tool. So this is the crocodile forceps. We're just going to grab the end. It's a little bit on the soft side, but enough substance there for us to pull that out. But that was a chunky plug. We will show you that on the ruler at the end. I think we do for this one anyway. There it is. So there's your plug. So you're just over a centimetre. What are we? Half an inch worth of plug. Now we're going to come up with Katie's removal next. Now that's the one you saw earlier using the Rosen inserter. So look at this wax now. The first thing you're going to see, it looks quite, I would call this knobbly, like a knobbly bobbly wax removal. There used to be ice cream we'd have here in the UK, or a lollipop I should say. It looks textured, you know, like there's lots of little, like grains of sugar. If you kind of imagine it dusted with grains of sugar, so these kind of angular bits sticking out of it, that's what this looks like. And that usually is indicative of dry skin. Okay, so normally with these kind of things, it means you're getting a bit of a dry skin issue in here. Lots of flakes of skin, all kind of stuck in a mixture of wax and other keratin, which is the name we give for all dry, dead skin. And that's what gives it that kind of blocky appearance, if you like. And what we've got now is, you can see this is definitely skin because we've got this ring of dead skin, probably just over halfway down the ear canal, going into a little bit further. And this is basically formed as the skin hasn't migrated out. It's stayed kind of in place. If you're really lucky, these will come out as a consistent ring. You'll get this kind of whole section coming away. If you're a little bit unlucky, it'll come away in pieces. It'll break down in pieces. You can use a manual tool at this point, and I've done that in the past, where you've kind of gone through the center, imagine like a donut. You've gone through the center of the donut with the right hook I was telling you about earlier, and you can kind of hook onto the back end and just gently draw this down. It tends to pull the whole thing out. But I think this is going to work equally as good here, because he's got a really, really good grip here. Look at that coming away. And see, you don't have to be rushed with these things. You really, really can take your time. You don't need to be kind of really gung-ho with it. Sometimes it's just looking for that little bit that you can work with. And you saw it was just literally a gentle circular movement, and it detached the whole layer of skin there. The eardrum looks nice and healthy, actually, considering, you know, how much dead skin was in there a second ago. Oh my goodness me. Now, very, very different looking wax on this one. Can you see just how dark that is? It's just gone really, really dark, which means it's old and it's dry. And what we've got is this central dry plug of wax. And then we've got this hard skin around the outside edge. Not as easy to go. So we're going to use this is the Rosen inserter here. This is a great manual tool if you've only got like thin gaps around the plug. And you can see then, you know, this is Katie, I think. So Katie's not actually kind of trying to get behind the plug. What she's doing is pressing down on the surface here to try and detach some of that dead skin. Because what you've got to imagine is, if you got a hold in the center, look at all that skin beyond, just how thick that dead skin is, and that's going to hang on to this wax, and it's going to stop you from pulling this forwards. But she's done a cracking job there to get that top section detached. Now, the key to this is it going to stay? I was going to say, is it going to stay as one piece? And as I said, that it drew straight through the center of it. So not going to stay as one piece. Certainly that first section isn't. There you go. So a lot of that dead skin is just pulled out. Just hooking that out to the ear canal. There we go. There's the dead skin. What's going on beyond this? You can see it goes much, much deeper. I don't want to try to look over the top, guys. There's not going to be any difference to it. But you can see it. We've got the same problem. It's almost like a layer, and then another secondary layer of dry skin and wax beyond it. So Katie can spot something there. I can see her kind of aiming for a piece that's just out of our view, but she can see something there. There we go, out that section. Oops, fell into the I guess Katie's trying to pick it back up. Look how tough that is, real. And considering that it's not sharp as such, but it does come to a point, the Rosen inserter, so it is good to get in there. Oh my word, this is going to be difficult. Now this is a really, really good approach here. Lifting from the bottom, there's probably a very, very thin layer. And just for you to know, the reason it looks like this with this really deep central depression here, classic cotton bud use. Absolutely classic cotton bud use. So basically what happens when we use a cotton bud, which you really shouldn't use for cleaning your ears. If you don't believe me, read the back of the packet. It'll say on every single one you shouldn't use it for cleaning your ears. But what you get in there is basically you're pushing a rounded object into the ear canal. And what you're going to get is you may see some sort of brown staining to the cotton bud when you take it out. But what you've effectively done is that central section's depressed the wax much, much further in, which does make our job that little bit harder, because you're working with a very deep piece of wax. That particular portion of the ear canal, that very, very deep portion of the canal, that is going to be super duper sensitive. You know, I'm talking really, really sensitive. If you just touch it with one of the tools, it feels like a sharp scratching sensation. So it just means that trying to get this out without causing any discomfort, or in fairness, any problems with the ears. You know, you don't want to be, you're working that close to the eardrum, you don't want to be like going up against the eardrum with a tool. It's going to cause a few problems if you're not careful with it. So Katie's done a really good job. She's pulled this one section across now. There we go. She's trying to detach. They're almost layered, these pieces. And there we go. She's managed to pull that section, detach all of that dead skin right at the back end. Really interesting now to see what this eardrum looks like afterwards. Because sometimes you get these layers. We talked about it in a couple of videos ago. You know, the newest form skin, imagine my palm, there is the eardrum. The newest form skin is right in the center of this. So sometimes if it's built like this, it's built in layers. It almost looks like layers of pastry over the top. So not too bad at all, actually. That eardrum is looking slightly better than I thought it would. There's a little bit stuck to this top left corner. You've got to be really delicate here. Well done, Katie. Good job. But that's looking a heck of a lot better there now. So what have we got here? This is 4.5 centimeters worth of wax. I'm going to say that's about 1.75 inches thereabouts. Guys, if you do enjoy the videos, I don't think I asked you this, but if you could like, heart, share, follow and subscribe for me, that would be absolutely fantastic. If you really enjoy the videos, you can also consider becoming members of the channel, and that way then you get to see 2 days worth of videos, or two more days worth of videos every single week on a Tuesday and a Thursday. I'm putting a link to a video up here, which I'd really love you to have a look at. It follows on really nicely from this one, so go and check that one for me as well. And until next time, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of your ears, and take care of one another, and I'll see you again soon. Bye, everybody.